Hi, I'm Anthony Magaro, aka Mr. Sandman. And have you ever questioned how do I take out carpet, tacks, and stripping safely without hurting myself or damaging the floor? Well, I got the answer to that question. Let me show you how quickly and easily that can happen. First, you have to have the right tools. So I'll show you here some of the more important tools that you'll need in removing the tack, stripping, and carpet. One of the ideal tools is called a 5-in-1, which has a little point on the end here that you can see is something that will easily reach underneath the staple and remove. You'll need a window bar. One that has a V-notch is often helpful to get underneath and pop the nails. You'll also need a variety of different pliers, straight edge ones, some pointed ones, and maybe even some of these electrician pliers. Also a variety of carpet knives you could use. There's called a hook blade, which is made for carpet. The standard carpet cut knife, carpenter's knife that you're accustomed to, and maybe even an actual carpet knife that has a straight blade. They also work well. And of course you'll need a hammer, nail set, and a 4-inch knife that you can use actually to stick underneath the tack stripping to stop any compression marks from happening from the tools that you'll be using to remove the tack stripping. So having said that, you have the right tools. You also want to consider some personal protection equipment, which could involve a dust mask if it's an old brittle carpet. You may even want to install an exhaust fan in a window just to take out any of the dirt or debris and dust that might be there when you're cutting carpet. You may also want to shut off any HVAC system because that could also make that dirt and dust float through the house. Gloves, obviously, to protect your hands. Again, these tack stripping, if they're old and there's a lot of carpet cleaning chemicals and so forth that were used on them, there is a good likelihood that you could get tetanus. So if you haven't had a tetanus shot in a while, you may want to consider that. The other thing you might use, obviously, are some eye protection. Just in case a staple or something flies up, you don't want that to end up in your eye. Okay, so having all the protection, having the right tools, basically what you'll do is you'll start with the carpet and you'll actually loosen and remove all the edges of the carpet off of the tack stripping. Once that is done, you'll roll back in sections, maybe 4 feet or so, that you can cut strips, roll them up and easily tie them with twine and take them out to the garbage. Having said that, keep one piece unrolled so that you can actually put all of your tack stripping and metal into, roll it up and dispose of it that way. That'll stop it from falling out and you having to grab onto them, which again are very spiky from all the pieces of metal. So the first thing then, after the carpet is loosened and you cut a strip out, you'll remove the padding. You'll do the same thing, roll that up, twine it, dispose of it. First you want to remove the staples that are along the edge. The easiest way to do that I found is actually to use these 5-in-1 tools. They can easily be slipped underneath the staple, and covering over the staple, you want to ease out both edges of the staple on both ends so as not to break the staple. Try to get it out in one piece. If it does linger and you can't pull it out, obviously you're going to take a pair of pliers and you're going to yank it out. If it does break and you can't pull it out with a pair of pliers, simply take your nail set and hammer and set the piece of metal down into the floor. And it can also be filled later. Once the staples are removed, then you'll easily be able to get your knives into the tack stripping. So what I recommend, if you're not too handy with the tools and you're worried about damaging the floor, is get a knife underneath everything where you're hitting the actual strip. That way, if you do happen to hit where it would potentially damage the floor, the knife's going to pick up the compression. So you'll take your window bar and you'll actually take and, using your hammer, you're going to actually tap right where each of the nails are. And they're usually about 6 inches apart. You'll tap on those pretty much on the strip using your 4-inch knife as a backer so that you don't compress into the wood, and you'll pop each of those nails up along the strip, trying to get the strip out into one piece if you can. If you can't, again, it's very important that once the nails are left in the floor that you take something underneath to pry the nail out so that you don't leave any of the marks from your tools into the floor. Once all the stripping again is removed, it's a matter of just taking the strips, rolling them up into your carpet, and safely disposing them into the trash. Hopefully that answers your questions on how to very easily remove carpet. If you have any questions, you can always contact Mr. Sandman. Oh, and one final note, after you're done removing all your nails, staples, tacks out of the room, make sure you do check your shoes and your soles for any hitchhikers, pieces of staples that may have gotten into your shoe, because that could eventually damage the floor that you're walking on.